All right, this is the Sights and Sounds of Earth, guys, and as usual, right as we go live, one of my screens went out here. I'm trying to replace that with something else. Just give me a few minutes here as I do that. You will see some screens will duplicate and then they'll go back again. That's just because I'm taking other providers that are kind of doing the same thing I'm doing, that are doing more comprehensive coverage of just the protests. And so a lot of these guys will go to all the other social medias and find media. And I, unfortunately, I'm a little limited there. I can do it, but it takes me a long time while I'm streaming. And it takes me away from hosting the show. Where YouTube's pretty simple. I can just run through that and blah, 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 blah. But when I find something on a different channel, then I have to actually go in and reform everything and resize everything, and it makes it a little more prohibitive on time. All right, yep, people are coming in here. Hey, Bill, how you doing tonight? Giving people a few minutes to get in here. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. I am live tonight in North Fort Myers, Florida. And we are watching on the screen all across the top. With a few exceptions, I actually have a shot of Bourbon Street and a shot of Times Square in there also. From left to right, most of that is Chicago. Most of that is Chicago. And so I'm working to get more specifics. Normally, these protests that happen from time to time, ICE protests, pro-crime protests, anti-law and order protests. There's about 10 different things they protest for. Normally, they're go home by now. This one's got some staying power, and that's why it's worth watching. This is a Friday night, and as you guys know, when it comes to rioting and civil discord, civil unrest, Friday and Saturday nights are usually the big nights, because even protesters and some anarchists work regular jobs. And Sunday would be probably the third night. Sometimes if it's a big weekend, Sunday will continue like the first 2 days. Hey, Victor, what's up, buddy? All right, so I'm working, like I said, I'm going down through these here. Some of the live events have just ended. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just put the Fox News Now link in there for right now, and then I'm gonna endeavor to find something to go in there. But at least this will show us live scenes of what's going on around. When they're not playing an ad, of course. All right. We've also got protests going on all over the world. The usual stuff. Pakistan. I'm looking down through here. Earlier today, there was some chaos in LA with a city hall where a driver crashed a car into it. I'm going to get more information on that, and we're going to be talking about that in a few minutes. I've had a crazy day. I spent most of the day up in Venice, 3 counties away, and then I ended up going straight into work. I had a guest host tonight, and I just got home about 30 minutes ago. Greetings from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Well, hello, Deploribus. How you doing tonight? QRZ? All right. I am so looking forward to getting on POTA. I don't have a mobile HF. My FT100 is not putting out much power, and my big rig over here is way too big to put in the car. So I've only done POTA with other people. I've really never done it. Well, I've been saving my money. I've got a side gig that I do, and I'm able to save up money there, and I've saved up quite a bit of money. I'm kind of proud of myself. And I am going to the Ham Fest, and on the 1st of November, I will be purchasing me a mobile HF radio. And I'm going to have it all set up in my car. I've already got all the things I need to hook it up and everything, and so I'm going to buy what I need at the Hamfest, what I don't already have, and then I'm going to install that in my car. It's going to be really nice. I'm not permanently installing it because I don't want an $800 radio sitting out in the sun down here in Florida. So it'll be in a, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it, but it's going to be in some kind of portable, some kind of little portable rig. I've already got a box in there with 2 radios in it. That's staying just the way it is. In fact, I've decided to move one of my TYT 8900s into that box because I need more. I need UHF and I need more frequencies. So I'm putting that in the car also. So I'm going to have a TYT 8900, and then I'm going to which is an 800 channel dual quad band radio, quite capable radio, 50 watts, and then I'm going to leave the FT100 in there. You know what I found tonight? Earlier, I was sitting there while the guest host was rambling on, and I started looking up on the tablet Android apps that decode FT8. And so I actually found an app that will do it. And so I can't wait to test it out here. It's called, whoops, hold on, let me, look at this. It's an FT8 app. And you have to download the APK file. It's not in Google Play. But it is, hold on, let me get back out of it here. Yes, I want to exit. It's called FT8CN, Charlie November. FT8CN. It's got settings. You go in there and put all your, and this has rig control. Now, I don't know how you get it to work off an Android. All I want it to do is receive FT8 while I'm driving down the road. That's all I want it to do. I want to be able to drive my car when I'm going on my trip with my little HF antenna in the back, which is nothing but a modified 11 meter thing, K10, whatever it is. Anyway, I just want to monitor 20 meters FT8, and I want to see what states I'm getting while I'm driving down the highway. I've never tested that kind of thing, and so I'm going to set it all up. I may go test it tomorrow. I'm also working on how to add another camera in the car, a small camera or split screen in the car. I'm working on that. Also, a new version of Scanner Q. We haven't released it for public consumption yet, but the latest version I think is going to be out this weekend, and so I may be doing some upgrading with that as well. So there's a lot going on. I also have some work to do for some of my clients this weekend as well. And then Monday morning, I am back to Venice again. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. You know, I'll tell you something. I think that's one of the things that's missing from society today, and you guys can tell me what you think on this. Once a year, my family gathered in front of the 19-inch Quasar or Sylvania, I can't remember which, that my dad was still making payments on every month at the TV shop. And we would gather in front of that TV that was putting out that wonderful nuclear energy, and we would watch, because once a year a movie came on called The Wizard of Oz. It played every year. It had played every year for 25 years. My mother had remembered at that moment watching Wizard of Oz in front of her TV with her mom and her brothers and sisters. And we would watch that every year. It was a standard. It had to be done. You can't go do anything tonight. Wizard of Oz is on. It was kind of like that. And see, some of that, people always say TV rots your brain and all this bullshit. I disagree. I think a lot of morals that the parents are not teaching, kids are actually getting off TV. And I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. I think one of the things that's missing today is children eating dinner with their mom and dad, either at the dinner table, which is probably the best, or sitting in front of the 19-inch watching MASH. MASH, I learned everything I needed to know about good guys and bad guys and about emotions and feelings and how men deal with emotions. I learned all that from MASH. MASH was very important in my life, and what I didn't learn there, I learned on Star Trek. But the point is I think that's what we're missing nowadays, is these standards on TV that kids don't watch anymore. Every kid my age watched MASH with their parents. It was a thing. And you might have watched Carol Burnett or Barney Miller or WKRP in Cincinnati. There was a bunch of other good ones too. But the truth is, MASH was the best. And there's other ones that fall along this same line too. And I start to wonder if this part of the problem with society nowadays, is that we never sit down as a nuclear family anymore and watch the same show. If you got kids and you're 30 and they're 10, do you guys watch any of the same programming? What about if you're 40 and they're 20? Do you guys watch any of the same programming? Would you ever sit down in front of the TV and watch an old movie, say like The Wizard of Oz? You see what I mean? There's some standards in our family. And we did, of course, got away from it. We all got our jobs and moved away and everything else. But that was a standard in my family up until the time I moved away at age 20 and bought my own place and moved out. Up until that moment in time, we watched Wizard of Oz. Every year it came on. It was usually like the ABC Sunday night movie, The Wizard of Oz. Yes. And it was a thing. Yes. They had a time of year, and I'll take your word for it because I don't remember the season. But yes, that sounds right. There you go, Victor. October 6th, full moon, harvest moon coming up. Yeah, they call it the harvest moon because many crops get harvest in October because we're coming into winter. And you got to harvest the crops before the plants begin to die or before the first freeze. And so this particular full moon, the one that happens in October, is called the harvest moon because it would give the farmers light if they had to stay out after dark and try to finish up. That full moon would rise and you would actually get a midnight sun. You would get this bright moon reflecting the sunlight back at the planet. And it worked really good. You know, if your eyes adjust, you can pretty much, if you know what you're doing, you can still get it done. Anyway. All right. I'm tired of playing with that guy. I'm just done with him. He's just a piece of shit, and it makes me want to come on and react, and I don't want to do that. So I just got rid of him. I don't give a shit. All right. I don't know. So that one went to something else. That's just awesome. All right. So most of these are still live. The ones you're seeing that are moving there, those top three in the left and the center one on the right, those are live right now. And this is going on, I believe, in Chicago, although there is supposed to be something going on in Portland, and I am looking for both of these. You guys just bear with me tonight rather than just sitting here talking. I'm going to try to find better videos here for a few minutes. I could certainly show you what happened earlier. There's a lot of earlier as lives going out right now. You guys know I really hate that as live bullshit. And there's about 50 channels on tonight that have live protests, this and that. When you go there, it's in Chicago and the sun's up. Well, it got dark in Chicago 25 minutes ago. All right, that's the one I got in the upper left. That mint, it's one of them too. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of people on commentating about it on both sides, about how what's going on in Chicago. I want you guys to think about something. Chicago, the people in Chicago are protesting and being disruptive because they don't want law and order. Isn't that kind of weird? It's like, hey, things are shitty, and to prove we like shitty, we're going to make them more shitty. Hey, Heath, what's up, man? Heath, I was just telling them, and I'll discuss it towards the end. I found an app today that does FT8, and you guys all know I'm a huge FT8 fan. FT8, other than voice, FT8's my favorite mode. Of course, voice is the best. I prefer voice over anything. When I go do POTA, it's voice. When I contest, it's usually voice. Unless others are doing voice, and then I'll do FT8. I don't mind. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to test this out tomorrow. I've got my FT100 in the car, and I'm going to put it on 14.074 upper sideband, and I'm going to see how many decodes I get. And now I'll be able to drive around and have this thing on decode and actually see my map and actually send my data to PSK Reporter and actually see what I'm getting out there in my car while I'm driving around. And so I'm going to start doing that so that I can start doing a little bit of a propagation study here. And so I'll let you guys know, but I'm going to be trying to set that up to where I can drive my car around, and on my tablet I'll have the FT8 receiver going, and it's going to show me what states and what countries I'm getting. So it works out good. And yep, if it's boring, move on. That's what I do. If I come in somewhere and it's boring, my shit moves on. How many screen names do you think this guy has? Anyway, let me go down. This is just such an exhaustive list of videos, and most of them are fake. The siege of Chicago, Crux. Crux is bad. See, there's a lot of these guys that are legit. This Portland Media Center, that's legit. Matter of fact, I'll stick that up. It's the only live view I've got of Portland right now, but it's just some intersection downtown. But I'll leave that up because I have nothing else to put in that square right now. It's kind of like Hollywood Squares and someone didn't show up for work. Or Match Game, whichever. I think that was Match Game. Do I have this fucker? Yeah, I do. I got the best thumbnails. Can I sound conceited for 1 second? I got the best thumbnails. Kiss my ass if I don't have the best thumbnails. City of Seaside, on the seaside by the city. Uh, yeah, Sean Diddy Combs. I got like, can I? Here's my only comment on Sean P Diddy Combs. Man up, buck up, buddy. Let me tell you something, okay? I I don't like when they bury people under the jail, but you almost deserve it, and you're only getting 4 years. So lighten up. Here's the thing: you was doing some shit that wasn't right, and most of the bad charges got dropped. You could have done life, Bucko. That's all I got to say to it. Cheer up, enjoy the food, stay away from the chicken gravy in there, and you'll be all right. That brings me back to a story years ago when I was a cop. Here's one of my stories. One night I'm working with a cop. I'm not going to give his name. We'll call him Kurt. And I'm working with Kurt, and we're out in a part of town, and these guys, we hear on the radio that a robbery had just occurred in Lehigh, and that the 1012s were heading back out of town in a certain kind of car, an old Buick, blue Buick, I think it was. And we looked at each other and we're like, okay, we know where they're going. So they were heading from one bad part of town just to another bad part of town, kind of thing. And we knew they were going to be going right through this intersection. So we pulled the car in there and turned the lights off, and we're sitting there. 5 minutes, that car drives right in front of us. Traffic 239, we're 1031, subjects eastbound, and he goes around a corner, and he goes over the curb, and he blows all his freaking tires out, and he slides off into a ditch. They both get out, and they take off running. So my partner, who's bigger than me, more fit than me, and faster than me, takes off after the driver. All right? Roly-poly, not such in shape firefighter guy that works as a cop part-time, jumps out of the car and takes off after the other one. Now I catch this kid that's 22 years old and about twice as strong as me. And his pants fall down. Thank God for that low pants stinger. White boys like me would never catch anybody, okay? I'm telling you, thank God for the whole pants falling down thing. Anyway, I get this guy. I've got him. I crawl up him as I'm holding him down. I've got him down. I'm trying to get his arms behind his back. I reach for my radio. It's gone. My flashlight's gone. I don't know where any of my equipment is. Obviously, my gun's still in the holster. But, I mean, other than that, I didn't know where any of my shit was. I get my handcuffs. And I tell this boy, I said, I am fatter than you, and I will lay on you until you are worn out. I said, why don't you just give me your hands, and we'll get this process going. And he says, you're right, man. It's cool. And he literally loosened up and gave me his hands, and I put the cuffs on. I stood him up. I said, now, just chill out. We'll take you back to the car. You know the process. There's no reason to make a mess out of this. All right? You fled. You're the passenger in the car. At this point, all you got is whatever you did in Lehigh. So let's just leave it that way. So the guy was cool. I picked up my shit. We walked back to the car. I load him in the car. I get the car mic, and I tell him I'm 10-4. I've got one 10-15. And sure enough, Kurt gets the other one with the assistance of the chopper and a couple of dogs. They end up getting the driver. These guys are both convicted of armed robbery, multiple counts of armed robbery. And Kurt and I are nominated for Deputy of the Month. Okay. I'm like, oh, great, okay. So this is like the third time I've been nominated. I never get it, but I get nominated for it a couple times. So I get up there, and I literally, yeah, Vic, there's something weird's going on. You know how it is. Some guys using your name now. Just we know better. It doesn't have the crown, so I know it's not you. It also doesn't have a wrench. So, here, we'll just, goodbye, go to hell, spin on this. All right, anyway, So we get nominated for Deputy of the Month. This is how you know. You think they treat us bad. They don't treat their own people that good either sometimes. So anyway, they said, okay, what we need you to do is meet at the stockade out on Ortez, and the sheriff's going to meet you guys there, along with a couple of other captains or whatever, majors or colonels. And you guys are going to go to Denny's on 80 and eat lunch. They've got the room reserved, and there's going to be about 12 of you guys. It's a big party this month because a lot of the people that were nominated were like my partner and I. We were nominated in twos. My partner was nominated for two different things. He ends up winning it for the other thing, the bastard. Him and another cop pulled up on a bank robbery and held the guy at gunpoint and got him in custody. It was a good arrest. And so, anyway, hey, Red. So, anyway, we show up at the stockade, and someone yells out, hey, guys, secure your guns and come on inside. Why? I don't want to go in the stockade. We're going to go eat lunch with the sheriff. We're all in our dress uniforms with our gun belts and all shined up and everything. My hat's on. Like, all right. So I took my gun belt off and I stuck it in the trunk of his car, and he did the same thing. And we walked inside. And they said, y'all have a seat over there. We'll be with you in a minute. Like, what's the mystery, dude? You know? Are we getting fired? So we walk over, and the tables that the inmates eat on, they've pushed about 6 of them together, and they've made like a big conference table. So we all go over and we sit down. Nobody sits up at the head. We're sitting there, and we figured they're parking us. Something happened. The sheriff got delayed. They're parking us for an hour, and then we're going to go eat. Okay, no problem. So we're sitting there. The undersheriff, who none of us liked. We liked the sheriff. We didn't like the undersheriff. We called him the underwear sheriff. And he shows up. He walks over, and he sits down at the head of the table. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And some captain sits down next to him, and some major sits down next to him. Colonel, I think he was the colonel in charge of the jail. And they sit down, and he goes, and he starts talking to us like this is the meeting, like this is the lunch. Hey guys, I just want you to know that, you know, you guys made us proud. You're what this is all about. You're what law enforcement's all about. And I just wanted to tell you guys how proud we are as an agency to have good deputies and officers like you guys that'll go out there selflessly and put life and limb on the line to make our community. Yada freaking yada, okay? And I'm like, what is this clown doing? What is he doing, right? It slowly dawns on us. They start serving us chicken from the jail with this yellow shit on top and these weird runny potatoes and peas that you had to cut with a fork. I'm going to tell you something. I've never been so pissed off in my life, dude. I swear to God. And he finally, as we're looking at this plate of jail food that's been put in front of the nominee for the Deputy of the Month, right in front of me, and I'm getting some cop-splaining horseshit story from the underwear sheriff, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? What's going on? He finally explains the sheriff got called away on business and couldn't be here, and then something happened at Denny's, and he kind of cop-splained the whole thing away. And the bottom line is, congratulations, you're eating at the fucking jail. And none of them even realized what a slap in the face that was for us. I didn't touch the chicken. I didn't touch I think it was mashed potatoes. It could have been rice that had been sitting around for a while. I don't know. I didn't touch any of it. I let it sit there in front of me. Kurt didn't touch it. A couple of the other guys there, none of us touched it. And as soon as the undersheriff got up and walked out of the room for some reason, we all got up and went back and got our gun belts back on and got in the car and drove away. I don't even think he was done speaking. We left the food sitting right there on the table. I'm like, And all the way back home, I kept looking at Kurt. I'm like, they fed us fucking jail food. He goes, I know, I was there. So from now on, I tell people, if you get put in jail, don't eat the chicken gravy. Oh my God. Hey, Rob, and Red and Junior, Henry, lots of folks in here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We've got a troll that's spoofing people's screen names, so nobody panic. If you see somebody come up saying something weird, nobody panic. There's children in the chat room. All right. Hey, it's Schmuck Schumer. All right. I'm still looking for videos over here. I don't know. It looks like there is still something going on in Chicago. That's the one place I think we still have something going on. The Portland should still be light, and all the Portland stuff has gone out. So I have a funny feeling Portland's calmed down. I'm checking by town now. Yeah, most of this is all daylight. It's earlier. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this over Schmuck Schumer. This is earlier. This window above me right here, this is earlier today, not live. This is in Chicago, earlier today. Here it comes. At least that's what I'm being told. By the way, some places are reporting these as anti-law and order protests. Some are reporting them as anti-federal government involvement protests. And some are reporting them as anti-ICE protests. And I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find a pro-choicer or two out there. But everybody, as usual with these riots or these protests, as usual, they're all kind of doing their own thing. You know, some of them are out there for different reasons. All right. Hello, everybody. The numbers are doing good again tonight. I do appreciate it. As you guys know, real quick, I moved all of my automated stuff over to Starship After Dark, and I only am doing live hosted things on the main channel. So please turn the bell on for Starship Adventures so you know when I go live with breaking news, storm chasing, plus the sights and sounds of Earth and the live drives. Anytime I go do any of these things, you'll get an alert on Starship Adventures, but for nothing else. I'm not putting anything else on Starship Adventures. All the static feeds, and there's 7 or 8 of them, are all over on Starship After Dark. I suggest not turning on the notification bell on that channel because some days I'll reset 5 or 6 of them in one day, and you'll be getting notifications and everything else, and it's just not worth it. All right, so that's how that works. And there we go. And that middle one there, that's the only live shot I've got of downtown Portland right now. So I'll leave that up. And here, let me show you guys on the far upper right corner. That's Times Square. The next one is supposed to be a protest in LA. The next one is Bourbon Street. The middle one there is downtown Portland. And then the 3 on the left of that are all the Chicago protest, which is supposedly ongoing. And then the one right above me here, this one, that is earlier today, supposedly in Chicago. Now, as far as weather tonight, there's nothing. There's just not a lot of weather going on. I've got winter storm warnings in effect right now. And that's about it. Up here, way, way up here, we're talking in Montana. You supposed to let me live in Montana? Well, I suppose I'll let you live wherever you want. Name the movie, 10 points. I think I'll raise rabbits. All right. Yes, in Montana, we've got some winter storm warnings, and we've also got, see, these are all winter storm warnings. And they're expected to get accumulations of 4 to 8 inches tonight. I think it's cool because I have not seen winter storm warnings on this map in 6 months. So, more proof that fall is definitely here. And that's about it. There's not a lot going on. Beaver County has 225 people without electricity. But really, there's just not a lot going on out here. The reason I had it centered on Florida, and I'll leave it here on Florida, is because we have a low pressure center down here. And that low pressure center is going to move across the state here in the next few days. We are expecting a rainier than normal pattern over the next 3 or 4 days here in South and Central Florida. And so that's why I've got it. Hunt for Red October, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. Yes, that's that was Sean Connery, and I forget the other guy's name. Great actors, great scene. They're in the captain's quarters, and he's talking about the first officer and the captain. They're leaving the Soviet Union. They're defecting to the U.S. And he asks. He says, "It's kind of it gives you I love this movie because it gives you the mindset of the way Russians think." The first officer asks the captain. He says, "Do you suppose they'll let me live in Montana?" And Sean Connery has that famous line, "I suppose I'll let you live wherever you want." And I always thought that was cool because, see, Captain Ramius had studied the United States. It was his thing. He'd become obsessed with it. And the other guy who really hadn't studied it much, he didn't even realize from his standpoint that you can live wherever you want here. You don't have to live in Montana. You can live wherever you want. And so I always loved that scene. And of course, he gets killed at the end, unfortunately. But spoiler alert. Hunt for Red October is one of my top 50 movies. It's definitely a highly recommend, and it gets 5 stars. It's a great, great, great movie. I love everybody that's in it. Ruskies don't take a jump without a plan. Yeah. Let's see here. Yep, Hunt for Red October. What a great movie. And they make all that music with kind of the Soviet undertones. It's great. I love the soundtrack. I just love that movie. And of course, Sean Connery's one of the best that ever did it. So there you go. All right. Anyway, there's my little dive down memory lane. All right, let's go over here. All right, and then go up to here. All right, guys, here's what we've got going on right now. This is basically the setup. We've got 2 areas that we're watching. Notice that the area here near Florida is at about 10 or 20%. They really aren't, they don't think it's going to form, but there is a possibility, so they have to put it on here. I don't think we're going to see a tropical storm, but I do think we are going to see some intensification of this low pressure system as it crosses the peninsula. And they're not drawing the circle on the other side of the state anymore. That's significant because they don't believe there's any chance of it developing once it crosses the peninsula. So that's kind of the good thing there. Yes, the music was all, it was all done like Russian music, and yes, the actual opening and a lot of the like war music you hear actually has the anthem in it, the national anthem, the Soviet national anthem, which is very different than ours, but a well written, neat song if you listen to it. Yes, Baldwin was in it. He did good. I like the guy that played the captain of the Dallas. He was also in Backdraft. He was Axe in Backdraft, and I like that guy. He's played in a bunch of shit too. Anyway, so this is the setup. Now I want you to notice the one behind this is an issue because that's going to put it right into the islands there, right on that break and make break. Now, some models are taking it north after this. Some models are taking it into the Caribbean. So it's too early to tell on this what's going to happen. It's all going to depend on that Bermuda high and how hard in that high holds in. Let me get... All right, and this one down here is a tropical wave just off the African coast, and it says basically the wave is forecast to interact with another disturbance over the eastern tropical Atlantic and then move westward after that. Environmental conditions are expected to become conducive for some slow development of the system in a few days, and a tropical depression could form near or east the Lesser Antilles, that's those islands, by the end of next week. They're putting formation between now and 7 days at 50%. So what we've got right now is we've got a number of models that are doing this, that are trying to take it up. But I also have a number of models that are taking it over here, which is our danger zone. So again, this one is worth watching each day to see what's going to end up, where this was going to end up. Let me see what we got as far as the Google runs here. The Google runs. That sounds like the trots, like when you get it in the morning. Anyway. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we got here. There's our systems. And here we go. Stays fairly tight formation coming in, and then right here it goes crazy. Notice a lot of them go along the islands, some go below the islands, a bunch of them go above the islands. So there's a lot of uncertainty once you get out to this area here. Quite a bit of uncertainty. You can see here, I'll run it manually here. When it gets all the way to this point, and from right there, you know, if you look at it, it's a fairly tight. That's a fairly tight grouping, and that's 4 different major models right there. So that's a fairly tight grouping. But then all of a sudden it goes to shit in a handbasket, and that's because the forecasting just gets too far out. It gets too unreliable at that point. Could be an East Coast storm too, I don't know. And the one up around Florida, if you notice, it comes across the south of Florida there, and that's about it. None of the models want to form it in the Gulf of Mexico though, so I can see why they took that part off. That kind of makes sense. All right, so I use Mike's weather page, as you guys know. That's Spaghetti Models. I always put the link in for you guys. Oh, yeah, you're talking about that interstellar object. Yeah, it's moving. It's cruising. The fact that it's moving so fast is one of the reasons we know that it's on a parabolic orbit. Or, I'm sorry, it's on a hyperbolic orbit, and it's not coming back. There's really not much else to report here. No. let's just run the main three models, and we'll call it a day for the hurricane stuff. All right, so here we go. This is the current model. Brings it across. Genesis 991, 978. And then it brings it out. Doesn't harm anybody. But I want you to notice behind it, something forms in the Caribbean and then pulls an Ian and goes right up the coast there. And it hits somewhere between here and Tampa. But even if that's a worst case scenario at 970 millibars, that's probably like a Cat 2 hurricane. So probably not a major hurricane. All right, so let's run this back and let's go to the Euro. The Euro is a much more conservative model. Let's run this and see the Euro does not even see Genesis at all. This Euro is garbage, I'm telling you. It's a garbage model. They need to dump it and start over, I think. Let's see, here's the Canadian model. And the Canadian model shows that storm out and about. And it also shows it turning out to sea. So we have to watch when it gets to this point right here. What does it do? Does it move on straight, or is it going to go out? Anyway, there we go. We may end up with no more hurricane strikes for the rest of the year. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. It certainly is possible that could happen. All right, let's take a look at our seismic monitor. Let's see what's going on all around the Earth. Man, another big one up here, a 6.1. This is back up on this is that swarm that we've been watching. There's a 6.1. Kamchatka. This is the peninsula there in Russia. A 6.1. That happened at 4:07 p.m. Zulu. Let's see here. 19 kilometers below the surface. There's a bunch of them here. Man, oh man, look at that. What another cluster of them. Whatever's going on there, it is definitely an ongoing deal. And then there's just a bunch of other random ones everywhere. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there was a bunch of them over here. You know, a little cluster of them right here. That's in Indonesia. Philippines, Indonesia, Solomon Islands. Even a little bit over on Hawaii got in on some today, a 3.9. That's on the Big Island. All right, so there you go. A fairly busy day seismically. We did have these big ones, this 3.9 in the Philippines a few days ago, and then some bigger ones down here near Chile yesterday. So there's been some bigger activity, but I've seen it a lot busier than this. Let me just put it that way. I don't think there's anything to worry about here. All right. No launches today. The next launch is not until October 7th, and that's going up from Canaveral. And also they're launching a Falcon 9 from California on October 7th as well. And another one on the 9th from Kennedy. It's pretty cool that we've got 5-6 different launch zones now, and we have to schedule them all out. Yeah, deploribus. It's true. They really don't know what the weather's going to do more than about 10 days from now, and even it's a guess after 5. And yeah, they really just don't know. But yet they'll sit there and tell you that the tide's going to rise by feet and not just inches. Yeah, I see the one in the Atlantic. Yeah, I started out by talking about the one. Yeah, that's coming. It just come off of Africa. Is that the one you're talking about? All the other ones are gone. They've all washed out. They've gone extratropical. Um, yeah, I got to tell you guys, Rob, it's been an unusually slow season. 2 or 3 seasons in a row now have been kind of weird. Um, I don't know. I don't even know what to think about it. It's kind of crazy. It does go against a gaggle. A, a gaggle that works. You could also use a plethora. Uh, uh, oh, that's another obscure movie. Hey, Hefe, you got a lot of presents, Hefe? Would you say I got a plethora of presents? Oh, yeah, Hefe, you got a plethora? No, yeah, yeah. Do you know what a plethora is? Name the movie, 10 points. That's another 10 pointer. Oh, it was an earthquake. Hold on. I'll go back and look again. The one in the center of the Atlantic, you mean there was the one in Hawaii? That's the only one I see that's out away from anything. There was some fairly big ones down in the islands east of Australia, but the only one like out in the middle was in Hawaii actually, and that was a 3.9 on the south end of the Big Island. All right, a plethora. All right, so I didn't know if you get this one. That was a fairly obscure movie reference, but it's an old movie I love. It's got Martin Short in it, and oh, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin. It's a good movie. All right, let's see what else we got going on out there. If there's anything else you'd like me to touch, the Three Amigos, you got it. Yes. That's a stupid movie, but I love that movie. I just because I love those three guys. They're so funny. Um, yeah, you don't want to jinx it, Rob. It's true. Uh, oh, there you go. The Vandenberg launches. Yeah, we can. I can see the launches from the Cape here, but it has to be really clear, and I have to know just where to stand, and it doesn't get that high in the sky. Um, your mom-in-law hates that movie. I can see why. It's a stupid, dumb movie. It really is. But I don't know. It's a fun movie. It was kind of like a weird middle budget movie that was making fun of a weird middle budget show. And they shot the whole thing in Mexico, I think. Uh, yeah. All right, coming up on an hour here. Let's see what else we got going on. Space weather. We are still experiencing minor G1 class geomagnetic storms, um, and they're continuing through the evening tonight. Um, these are the last gasps of an occasionally strong 5-day geomagnetic storm that produced magnificent auroras around the Arctic Circle and around a dozen U.S. states. between September 28th and October 2nd. So there you go. And that's because of that co-rotating region where at a certain time in our orbit, our magnetic field connects with the sun's briefly, and it gives us a heightened chance for auroras, and we just went through that. Um, yeah, I love movie trivia. We do that a lot on the show. We give away tickets to Jimmy the Beef Guy. We do giveaways for like different tickets for different things, and you can become an advertiser with us. And one of the things you can do is if you buy so many ads, we'll give away your tickets for free meals, and then we'll talk about your food, and you can bring it in, and we'll eat it on the air and all that. It is what it is. And our favorite guy, Jimmy the Beef Guy, he's from Chicago. He comes in, hey, it's Jimmy the Beef Guy over here, you know. And he talks. He's got a really strong Chicago. Not New, that was a little New York there. A strong Chicago accent. So every time Trey gives away the tickets, he always comes on. He goes, "Yep, these are the tickets for the Jimmy the Beef Guy. Give us a call now at 239-479." And that's he does the entire promo and the giveaway and everything in the voice of the guy that's advertising with us, Jimmy the Beef Guy. And Jimmy thinks it's the funniest thing. We have been told by his staff that he sits down at the place listening to us make fun of him on the radio, and he just eats it up. And it's just a fun time. But he's got some of the best sandwiches in town. He does a Polish sausage with beef on top. Screw all that salad shit. It's a man sandwich. You put meat on it with a garnish of meat. Anyway. It still looks like this shit's going on. These are all different live shots coming in from down there. And I think this is in Chicago. I don't know why in some of these states, like New York and New Jersey and some of these places, they decided to dress the cops up like Nazis. I've never figured that one out. Nope, I've never heard of that, Deploribus. No, I have not. But I'm going to put it in my show notes. I actually have a little notepad that I keep here. And I've told you guys this before. When you guys tell me stuff to check out, um, I paste it in there. And then after the show, I go down through it and check it all out. So I got that on my show notes. What was I telling you guys? Yeah, they got a guy here that was completely paralyzed, and they got this new experimental drug, and it's supposed to work with spinal cord injuries, and this man was completely paralyzed. They've got him walking. It ain't perfect, but they got him walking. The experimental drug could help improve movement for patients with spinal cord injuries. The NVG-291, an injectable peptide, has been tested in a phase 2 trial with eligible patients, some of whom noted remarkable outcomes. Larry Williams, a trial patient based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, shared with Fox News Digital that he has been able to walk again after an accident that caused complete paralysis. Williams, 58, was mountain biking on a small trail when he struck a tree. Although he was wearing a helmet, he instantly broke his C4 through C6 vertebrae, specific bones in the cervical spine. He underwent spinal injury surgery, but was paralyzed for 2 weeks until his body began to wake up. He did slowly regain some movement after starting therapy, but then they started this stuff on him, and he made incredible improvements. He received daily injections of the drug, followed by 1 hour of physical therapy, each which included hand exercises and walking, and a harness and a flat track on a treadmill. He underwent blood tests and electrophysical therapy testing to measure the electrical activity in his nerves and muscles, as well as physical testing once a month. At the end of the trial, Williams reported that he was able to walk 10 meters, balanced with a walker, in 15 seconds, an improvement of 45 seconds. And then he stopped. He didn't need it anymore. They took it away, and he continued to improve. He can get up and go to the bathroom and come back to bed now. This guy was paralyzed. It's amazing what we're doing now. Yeah, we had the campaign hats or the Smokey the Bear hats. That's what I wore down here. My sheriff's department that I worked for years ago wore cowboy hats. We actually had gray cowboy hats that they wore. When I was an Explorer Scout, the guys were all still wearing those. They had the wreath badge on the front. And by the time I got through the police academy and got my badge and got sworn in, a new sheriff had come in, and we had switched from the cowboy hats to the campaign hats, which is what everybody calls the Smokey the Bear hat. I like the Smokey the Bear hats. That's not necessarily the Nazi style I'm talking about. I'm mostly talking about New Jersey Highway Patrol. I think they're about the worst. They've got the Nazi riding pants, and they got the Nazi high boots, and the Nazi hat with the Nazi strap across the shirt to hold the belt up because they're all overweight. And the whole uniform it's Nazi. It just says Nazi all over it. Lots of bald cops. I wasn't bald when I was a cop, but I'm bald now. I'm getting there. I was a cop for a long time. I still have a lot of respect for law enforcement. We need cops. But I've lost a lot of faith in the system over the years. I got to tell you. A lot of the penny ante bullshit and all the time being spent in all the wrong places. But I still do believe we need these guys. I was one. It's not an easy job. Of course, a lot of them make it a lot harder than it needs to be. Oh. All right, so that's what I have for tonight. What do you guys got? Goon Squad. Yep. In New Jersey. Deploribus, you're right. It is a lot about intimidation, and I think we're a little beyond the days of needing the intimidation. I do. It doesn't work. It ends up building animosity. You end up doing more harm than good. Cops end up getting more complaints than they normally would. Cops should be taught to be nice. It should be taught that it's a public service job. Now, I'm not saying you got to kiss the ass of somebody that needs to go to jail, but I also don't think you need to abuse people just because they're going to jail. And I also think that the public needs to be treated as customers, not as. I don't know if you ever noticed when a cop pulls up, what does he say on the radio? I'm out with two subjects. I'm out with a subject on the side of the road. Do you know what a subject is? A subject is someone who's owned by a king. I want you to think about that. See, it's all in the wording. What they should say is, I'm out with two citizens. I'm out with two customers. I'm out with two taxpayers. That's what they should say. But they don't. They're out with two subjects. Subjects of the king. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I don't like. And the mirror sunglasses, and the getting all up close on you, and all the things that they do. I don't agree with any of it. I really don't. Policing can be done without intimidating. And bullying. You know, if you don't want people to be bullies, you got to start by not being a bully. That's why I've become a big fan of the First Amendment auditor guys. I watch quite a bit of their stuff. I don't like the ones that start off disrespectful, but all the ones that are respectful, like Long Island Audit, oh God, what KULT News. There's so many good ones out there. Um, it I like it because it's testing the system, and the system generally fails. Yeah. Well, cops need to go back in uniforms. This they're all dressing like army men now. That's bullshit. That's all a brain. That's a brain fuck going on. Okay. When they all dress up like that, that gets in their mind that they're like, I'm in the military, I'm fighting a war, and they're the bad guys. And they literally get that in their head. Cops should be made to wear a standard uniform. The vest goes underneath the uniform, and you wear a gun belt with the stuff on it. You don't need all that shit. You know what? Every one of these cops I'm seeing on these First Amendment things, I'm starting to look at all the stuff that they've got in their vest. They've got a CPR mask on their vest. They've got a tourniquet, a big tourniquet with a buckle on it right there in front. I'm like, a tourniquet? You know, I was in public safety for 20 years. I was in the fire department full time. I was part time at the sheriff's department. I volunteered at another department. I was full time at one. I volunteered at another, and I also worked part time at the sheriff's department. And I volunteered at dispatch, and I worked for emergency management. I did a bunch of different shit. I've never once seen a tourniquet used. It's a last ditch effort when you're stuck out in the woods and someone's bleeding to death. You put a tourniquet on. Tourniquets, you write off everything south of the tourniquet, first of all. I don't understand why you would need to have a tourniquet and you carry it around all night with you and have a CPR mask and a first aid kit over here. Cops don't provide first aid. We all know this for a fact. And then the guy's standing there and he's got 3 magazines for his 40 caliber, and he's got 2 32 round 223 mags for a rifle that's in his trunk. And he's walking around all night with all this weight on. And then he's got 4 or 5 pins stuck in there. He's got 3 pairs of handcuffs, 2 on the back and 1 in the thing in the front right here. I'm thinking, my God, look at these. They're going to war. They're going to war. Yeah, I don't know. I will tell you guys, I've become very disenchanted with the state of law enforcement. I saw it back when I was doing it. I saw it starting to degrade and go downhill. There started to get a lot of cops that were in it for the wrong reasons. There was a lot of people getting into it because they like being bullies or they like violence. You have no idea how many people are cops because they like being violent. And it's the only legal way to be violent unless you want to get into boxing or something. Think about it. How many legal things can you do where you get to beat the shit out of people? So, law enforcement gathers lots of violent people working there. Now, a lot of them get caught because they end up doing it too much. Yeah. Yep. So anyway, I wish that law enforcement would straighten its act out. I wish it would. We got a tyrant sheriff here. It's a big mess. We've got some good sheriffs nearby, though. We got great sheriffs in Lee and or in Collier and Charlotte and Henry, but sometimes they're just not so good. Lots of corrupt. You know how you can tell a sheriff's corrupt? He'll no longer speak to the media. Our sheriff has not gone before the media in over a year. He doesn't do press conferences. He doesn't talk to nobody. He doesn't do anything. Even his media people do not hold open press conferences. They hold a press conference, and you know what they do? They stream out the press conference. They don't even have the press come because they're not taking questions. They don't answer to the people that they answer to. And I have a real problem with that. And it makes the good ones look bad. You're absolutely correct. If I was a good cop, which I was, I would hate bad cops. And I did. It was a lot less prevalent back then. But some cops you could tell were in it for the wrong reasons. And some were just in it for promotion, which means they end up making a bunch of bad arrests. Because promotions are based on arrests, not convictions. So they can go out and make 1,000 arrests, and if every one of them gets dropped, doesn't matter, they'll still get promoted to sergeant. They didn't get a single person in jail, but they'll still get promoted to sergeant because it's not based on convictions, it's based on charges. And 2 out of every 3 of these cases that are being brought in are getting dropped. Dominic, I'm not even sure a push with the stop the bleed version of CPR. I know the new version of CPR does not even involve giving breaths, which basically completely negates the need for CPR. And that's why today, if you don't want me to give breaths, then I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to keep on walking because the only thing that's going to save somebody is CPR. Not when I see, oh, we pumped on the chest for 12 minutes. Really? Because without putting new air in there, I don't know what good that is. I actually have CPR conversions. I actually have an AED conversion under my belt. I mean, I've done it. I've done CPR on over 100 people. Okay? I've been there, done that. And let me tell you something. CPR sucks, but it's the only thing that works. You have to break the ribs, you have to breathe really good, give them good breaths, and you can save a life with CPR. But having somebody pump the chest without putting any breath in their chest, you're wasting your time. Don't bother. Um, no, Victor, other than on TV, I've never seen anything like that. Um, yeah, I was a American Heart CPR instructor and also a Red Cross instructor for years. I also taught EMT refresher, and I taught some of the fire school classes, and I was the training officer for my department for 12 years. So to say I'm intimately familiar with CPR and everything there is to do with it, um, and what I see today is crazy. I, I don't know. It's almost like we've taken something that used to work, and because people think it's icky, and a lot of people won't do it, we just stop doing it. Well, that's like saying, well, we used to change the oil, but now we don't bother. Well, it's like if you don't, you got to do it, or it doesn't count. I don't know. I don't get the whole thing. I've asked people about it. I'm like, because I've been out of it for a while. And I ask people, what is this CPR where you don't give breaths? Oh, yeah, you don't give breaths anymore. Really? Because that's the important part. You got to get new oxygen in there. You're not going to pass any air doing chest compressions. And don't try to convince me you are. Anyway, but yeah, Dominic, I'm not really familiar with the old the tourniquet thing. Maybe there is a new reason to have something like that on your vest. I don't know, but I know there's 50 things on that vest that don't need to be on there. It's all because they want to look the part. They want to be the army man. Most cops are frustrated because they couldn't get in the military. That's why most cops are little doughboys. Yep. I also am friends with cops. Lots of great cops. Great cops. The cops are good people. A lot of them. A lot of them did get into it for the right reasons. Some of my best friends over the years have been cops. So, it's a mixed bag. When you live in a bad neighborhood like I do, down the end of a long road in a bad neighborhood, you get pulled over all the time. It makes you very dark and cynical about policing. And then when you have a sheriff that lied his way into the job, that makes you even worse. A tyrant. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up real quick. Oh. Okay. That that really has nothing. One has nothing to do with the other. It doesn't look like. The bleed version of CPR is simply what you do if someone's bleeding. It's basically the ABCs of bleeding. You want to apply direct pressure, and you want to pack the wound with gauze or cloth and apply a tourniquet for the arm or the leg. That's the CPR of bleeding. I'm talking about CPR in its original form, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. That's what I'm talking about. So we're kind of talking about two different things. And yes, we had tourniquets on all the fire trucks. Even back in the 80s, we had tourniquets. But we never used them. Because if I could pack that thing and wrap that thing and do whatever I had to do, that's what we did. Because if I put a tourniquet above that knee and I pulled it as tight as you're supposed to pull it, it's very painful. That's another thing. Tourniquets are never applied strong enough to do any good. You have to tighten one down to where the leg turns blue or it doesn't work. Okay? And so, A, they're rarely ever needed, and B, they're rarely ever applied properly. You know, if you do CPR, if you don't break all the ribs, you're not doing it right. CPR is the nastiest thing. You have to break ribs. You have to put your, well, in the old days, you had to put your mouth up against their mouth while they're puking. CPR is nasty, but you can save a life with it. It works. My chat room has quit. I don't know. Let me change it to live chat, see if that changes anything. I don't know. Sometimes my chat room just quits. But yes, stopping the bleeding is so important. You know, if you walk up and someone's pumping out blood, you may be the only thing left between them and the grave. You got to grab something, wrap it around it, and hold it tight until somebody gets there. That's it. Don't let go. And don't start trying to wrap a rope and make a tourniquet. Your hands on the wound, wrap it with something, put your hands on the wound, and provide the direct pressure yourself until someone gets there. Other people's blood is not going to hurt you. Granted, you don't want to be all in it. I get it. All right, I wore gloves as much as I could, but I've come back to the station covered in people's blood before. I had a fireman stick an axe to his foot one time, didn't even realize it. Went through the top of the boot, down into the foot. He was axing, and he didn't even realize he did it. Gets back to the station. He takes his boots off. And he said, I knew that boot had water in it. I figured it was just full of water. He gets back to the station. He kicks his boots off. And as the boot comes off and hits the ground and falls over, blood goes everywhere. He had about a pint of blood down in that boot. He thought it was full of water. Oh my God. Yeah, we get in the service truck. Let's go get some stitches in that foot. Jesus. There we go. I got your test, Dominic. Thanks, Victor. All right. All right, guys, an hour and a half in is what else do we got out there? I don't want to just sign off yet. Is there anything else out there we can talk about real quick? I'll check the headlines one more time over here. This P. Diddy thing, man. I mentioned it earlier. Shut up and do the 4 years. You were charged with a lifetime's worth of shit, and you're only going to get 4 years? You think you're lucky frickin' stars, dude. Just take the time. God knows you did it. You might as well take the time. Yes, Jane Goodall has passed at 91 years old. I saw that. That's hilariously gross. Yes. This controversy with the women's basketball is driving me nuts. They want paid equally to the men. We go out and play just as hard as the men. Okay. Does that logic work in the real world? All right. Does it matter? What if our show, we had a horrible radio show and it was getting really shitty ratings. And when my boss came in and said, hey, what's wrong? I said, boss, I want to get paid as much as the big show that makes the really good ratings. And my boss would laugh at me. It's like, you get paid for what you make. And that's the way it is in radio. It's the way it is everywhere. If you suck, you're not going to get paid all that much. If you're really good, you're probably going to do well. Well, here's the thing. It's women's basketball. Did you guys know, and I'm all for women's sports. I'm really for men staying the fuck out of women's sports. But let me tell you something, okay? Here's where I draw the line. I am 100% supporter of women's sports, okay? I think women should have every opportunity men do. And I'm not just saying that. I believe it. I don't like sports. Do whatever you want. But here's where the difference comes in for me. Don't come in there and demand the same money that the men are making. Did you know that the smallest attendance at a man's game, a men's basketball game, the NBA, the smallest attendance is still a lot more than comes to the Super Bowl largest game of the WNBA. So in other words, I take the smallest crowd for the men's game, and it's still many, many more people than come to the big game of the year for the women. That's a fact. Does that make me sexist? No, it's a fact. For every one person that watches the WNBA, there's 10 that watch the NBA. That's a fact. I can show that in TV ratings. I can show it in stadium attendance. It is what it is. Does it mean anything? No, it doesn't mean anything. The women are doing a good job. The men are doing a good job. They're out there. They're entertaining. They're playing their sport. They're doing well. What's the problem? Oh, the problem are the women want paid the same as the men. They want equal pay. I completely agree with equal pay. If you got two cops working the same zone, they should both make the same money. I don't care if one's a man, one's a woman. If they're both qualified to do the job, they both should make the same amount of money. I have no problem with that. This is different. This is an entertainment field. It's sports. Okay? All things are not equal. You've got a men's league and a women's league. The men's league sells 20 times more swag than the men's league sells 20 times more swag than the women's league. The men's league has 10 to 15 times more attendance than the female league. The men's league is televised on national television. The women's league, sometimes some coverage, not a lot. But they want equal pay with the men. Do you know that the WNBA has never broke even? Do you know who subsidizes the WNBA? The NBA! They already give money to, they started the WNBA. The NBA gives money every year to the WNBA. They operate in the red, and the only reason they operate in the black is because of the money that's already given to them from the men's league. What's the problem? And then they interviewed one of these WNBA ladies. She comes on and she says, you know, she goes, I think we need to get out and sell more t-shirts and sell more tickets and everything. And I'm thinking, does she get it or not? Because I can't really tell from what she said. Yes, go out and sell more tickets and sell more t-shirts. Yes. Not as many people like watching women play basketball as watching men play basketball. I don't know if getting more people to buy shirts or buying more commercial ads on TV is going to help that. And the bottom line is, you're never going to get paid as much as these people over here, because these people over here have 15 times the people watching them. How could you possibly expect to get the same amount of money? Well, yeah, Coco, that's the thing. Yeah, I heard that too about the nuclear command thing. Yeah, I don't know if it has to do with these drug boats or if there's something else going on. I don't know. I don't know. The NBA has an airball throw. Interesting. I would imagine that more lucrative advertisers go to the NBA. They do. Look, here's the thing, okay? It's like at my work. Let's say you own an air conditioning company, and you can come into my work and you can buy advertising on the rock and roll station, the hip hop station, the country station, Trump Country. You can do it on Fox Sports, on Fox News. You can put your ads on our contemporary rock station. You can put your ads on our classic rock station. We also have 3 or 4 Latino stations, including Latino 97.7, one of the top rated stations in the county, in the state, or in this part of the state. You can put your ads on anything you want. And then once you pick the station, you can then pick which show you want to put the ad on. Like, okay, this guy is late at night. I can put an ad in every hour of his show, all 30 days of the month, for $1,200. It's pretty cheap. But one one ad in my show is going to cost you hundreds of dollars. So you can not only pick the channel that you buy the ad on, but pick the time when that ad's going to do the most good. And then you can pick what kind of ad. Do you want to run split 30s? Do you want to run 60s? Do you want to run 15s? How do you want to run your ads? And so you basically have to cater it out so that it fits your advertising. Let's say you opening a burger joint. You're new, you don't have a lot of money. We can put you on Fox Sports, which has a lot lower viewership than or listenership than Fox News. We could put you over there for a fraction of the money, but you're only going to get a fraction of the viewers. It's the same thing with NBA and WNBA. If you don't have a lot of money, you can go buy a lot of advertising over on the WNBA game, which is going to be on like ESPN 7 or something. Or if you've got really big money, you can go buy time on ESPN 1 where we've got the NBA playing, or on network. And so it's the same thing basically. But on the back end of that, the WNBA is not making any money on their advertising. It's all cheap shit advertising. Where the NBA, they make bank on their advertising. Whose fault is that? Is that because we're all a bunch of sexist pricks? Is that because people hate women? Is that because that God was a man? No, it has nothing to do with anything. What it has to do with is the fact that people want to watch this, and that's what they watch. I'll tell you, if the WNBA did it nude, I think they would do better in the ratings. They would probably get a lot more viewers, and they would sell those T-shirts. But other than making the show better, and I'm kidding about that, but other than making the show better and attracting more viewers that way, and again, I'm kidding about the nudity part. Other than making the show better and attracting more people, what are you going to do? It is what it is. When you started playing women's basketball or women's baseball or whatever it is, you knew that I'm getting into something that has a very small audience. But then once you get in, you immediately start bitching that you want as much money as the other people. The people in the big league that pull 15 times the audience that you pull. I just don't get it. It would make sense to me if everybody just makes a percentage of what they make, okay? You know? But if you did it by actual percentage, these girls wouldn't make anything. The fact that they make anything at all is because of subsidy. It's because of subsidy from a bunch of different places, including the NBA. And so, yeah, the Little League games are more fun. Yeah, I don't watch any sports. I've been done with sports for a while now. I don't give a shit about sports anymore. The last thing I was watching was the NFL and the absolutely piss poor officiating and the fixed games, and it's just not worth watching it anymore. It's terrible television. And the NFL can't quite get away from all the woke bullshit either. Okay. All right, guys. What else do we have out there? Put in anything in the chat room you'd like me to discuss tonight. I don't know. It still looks like there might be a bit of a crowd out there on some of those live shots. Again, the one above me here was from earlier in Chicago. And then that top row is purported to be live. The middle one is in Portland. And then on the right, you've got Bourbon Street, you got Times Square, and you've got that protest in Chicago in the middle. And then over on the left, those are all different views of, I believe, the protest in Chicago. if I can get some information on that real quick. Huh. I don't see anything there. Uh, 22 minutes ago, let's see here. Something with that. All right, guys, let's see if we can get the latest. Oh, God. Oh, for God's sake. I hate trying to manipulate things on multiple screens. Let's see if I can get this to go here.
Raids on Chicago's northwest side.
We saw some tear gas deployed by agents near a grocery store and a school today. Randy Gyllenhaal talked with people who saw this happen there. He joins us now in Logan Square. Randy?
Yeah, for hours this morning, reports of ICE activity, choppers circling around Logan Square. Then just before noon, people saw an unmarked SUV approach a Hispanic grocery store, Rico Fresh. It happened here on Armitage, right in the roadway. People began to yell at federal agents. A scooter then got in front of the SUV as neighbors began recording on cell phones. Video from multiple angles shows that federal agent in a black mask suddenly deployed canisters of tear gas, began filling the air. Shoppers, other people were nearby. You hear coughing, honking, and then the SUV drives away. We have reached out to ICE as well as Homeland Security asking what these agents were doing and why the tear gas was used in a neighborhood. We have not heard back at this point, but the incident has set off some anger from those caught in the gas and the plumes of smoke here in Logan Square.
And then just for no reason, he tear gases the whole crowd. There's a gentleman blocking their vehicle with a scooter, and he wasn't moving, so then the ICE agent just rolled down the window and threw the tear gas. The scooter wasn't moving, and they felt the need to tear gas us for some reason.
Do you think that's justification?
No, absolutely not. It was ridiculous behavior.
Well, in addition, you can see right over here as the sun's setting, this is fun.
Okay, wasn't sitting in front of an ICE truck in a scooter and not letting them leave, wasn't that also stupid behavior?
In elementary school, just a half block away on Armitage, students and recess were moved indoors after this happened, according to CPS. Again, we are working to get more information from the federal government about why tear gas was used. For now, we're live in Logan Square. Randy Gyllenhaal, back to you.
Thanks for getting those answers, Randy.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Appreciate that there. Yeah, it was one of those things. You know what? It comes down to this. I love when people are acting bad, and then when something happens, they blame the other people for acting bad. It's like, dude, they were doing their job, they pulled up to do a job, and you blocked them. Now, we can argue all day long about whether their job is just or whether you blocking them was just or not. But don't sit there as the third party bystander and say everything was going just fine and then they tear gassed him. No, no, no. He was blocking an emergency vehicle from leaving an area that might have been that people were throwing stuff at. So I hate that. Call it what it is. You had a guy that was not acting right, and you had some cops that may have overreacted to it. But don't make it sound like the guy's an angel. Okay? Pfft. Whatever. Yes. I'm getting ready to sign off in a minute, so let me go see what cats I got out here. I went and got Ed, but then Mama Bleep ran in too, so it's a two for tonight. Eddie was in the bedroom, but I went and woke him up. Hi, Ed. I wanted you to say hi to everybody. Say hi, Ed. Don't you love cats with people names? There for a while, we were giving them all people names. We have Ed and Ted and Tony. The next one, I swear the next one I'm going to call Bill. Yeah. Cat names are ridiculous. Fluffy and whatever. You guys be nice. Okay, yeah, there we go. This is Ed, and this is Mama Bleep. I got two of them in here. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama Katie. Both good kitties. These are the two right here, my two closest, I think. When I go to Georgia, if these two are still around, they're definitely going with me. That's right. Mama Bleeper. Aw, they love each other. Good kitties. All right. And this is why I can't have them in here while I'm broadcasting, because it would literally, it's just this the whole time. It's just this the whole time. Faces, assholes, the whole time. Yeah, because that's what cats do. All right, anyway, any last minute thoughts, guys, before I sign off? Okay, tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow's my bye day. There's a real good chance I will not be on tomorrow at all. I'm working on about 5 different projects here at the house. I may go live with something. I may do some testing with FT8 in the car or something. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. Why you got your nose up her ass? I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. Your cat can see my cats. Yeah. Hey, That was mean. I don't put up with violence. Yep, Junior, thank you very much for being here, and Coco, and Red, and Deploribus, and all you guys, Victor, thank you all for being here tonight, and everybody else I missed. I do really appreciate it. The numbers are up just a little bit again tonight. I think we're on to something here with the algorithms. We're getting closer back to the numbers we were getting, and there's nothing going on. So it's not like there's riots going on or something really big going on. There's just not. So that tells me that I think I've done something right with the algorithms here. Yeah, Caleb, cats are so special. They're so important to me. Yeah, I love my kitties. I do. I live alone now. So when I come home, these are the smiling faces that I see. And they love me, and I get along great with all of them. So, isn't that right? I woke Ed up, so he's not real happy right now. He was sound asleep. He's old. He's like 10 years old. So when he goes in there and goes sound asleep, that's a little rough for him. Yeah, I love my cats. I just absolutely love cats. They're the best. And compared to a dog, they're very low maintenance. Eddie's mad. He's by the door. He's like, I want out. I'm normally in here by myself with you, and now I've got that other cat in here. All right, there we go. Yep, I'm going to get something done tomorrow. If there's breaking news, I don't care if it's noon, 3 o'clock, midnight. If there's breaking news, I'm going to come on with it. And I'll keep things updated. I'll keep the Discord and the community posts updated tomorrow if there's anything going on. All right, that's what I got, guys. Live from Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. My name's Ian, and this is the Sights and Sounds of Earth right here on Starship Adventures. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our other channel, Starship After Dark. And please make sure that on this channel, Starship Adventures, that you have the notification bell turned on. We'll see you guys later. Sunday night for sure at 9 p.m. But I am going to be here all weekend. If breaking news were to happen, I will go on with it. We'll see you guys the next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you guys later. 7-3s. Have a safe tomorrow. Mama Kitty. You had to love the microphone while I'm signing off. Did you have to? Was that it? You had to do it? I'm coming, Ed.